There's a very good question. We have three major holidays. We have Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Three of them. The first two are super easy to understand. We were slaves in Egypt, in Mitzrayim for Paro. The Lord saved us. He took us out of Egypt. We're free. We have something to celebrate. You go from being a slave to becoming free. Something to celebrate. Haga Pesach Zman Hailutenu. Okay. Then you go to Shavuot. Shavuot was, after we became free from slavery, God said, okay, now that you're my nation, I'm going to give you a book. Follow these laws, rules, and regulations. Okay. We got the book. We got a book. Now we went to the next level. Shavuot Zman Matan Toratenu. We became free. I can celebrate them becoming free. I get a gift that's a law book, happens to be a book that really is a guide of life, guide for history, unbelievable. You have this Torah, it's ba Elohim here, the hand of God. Great, celebrate Shavuot. Okay, comes Sukkot, Zman Simhatenu. Why? Because we stayed inside a Sukkot in the desert. That's one of the opinions. One of the opinions, when it came to Native Americans, what did they do? They had teepees. The Jews, when they left Egypt, they had no teepees. They had Sukkot. They had those walled Sukkot. Okay? That was their Sukkot. Very nice. But why are you celebrating that? And if you tell me that it's because of Ananei HaKavod, because of the clouds, I agree. Okay, clouds is great. But what about Be'ed Minyam and what about the man? We got the man every single day, and we also had the well every single day. So this is very important to know. When Bnei Israel, I shouldn't say Bnei Israel, when the Erev Rav started to do Chet HaEgel, right? And Hashem got very upset. Moshe Rabbeinu came down, he's coming down with the Luchot, and he sees that they're all dancing. And he also noticed that the men and the women were dancing together. That was the main issue. When Moshe saw that, he broke the Luchot, he went down, he had to take the Chet HaEgel, he grinded it into a dust, he made them drink it. Aharon, what happened? Chur is dead. The whole place, it was mess. And Moshe goes back to God, goes back to Har Sinai, and God says, all right, I'm very upset, I'm destroying everybody. That's it. We're clicking reset. This can't work. I invested too much, I did too many miracles. If this is the people that they're doing, they cheated too quickly, reset. Moshe said, what do you mean? How could you do that? He said, if you can do that, erase me. And Hashem said, no, I'm going to rebuild the nation from you. Moshe, I love you. Bechol beti ne'eman. Who says, no, I'm not doing that. That's a real leader. Not like the sailor, the captain of the Titanic. When the Titanic went down, he was the first on the lifeboat to get out and escaped. Women and children and old men were dying. This guy, the captain, came on. Moshe Rabbeinu was the complete opposite. That's how a leader is supposed to be. He said, I'm going down with the ship. I'm waiting. I'm going to make sure everybody survives. Hashem says, oh, wow, that's unbelievable. He changes Hashem's mind. Unbelievable that a person could do that. Unbelievable that a person could change God's mind. He changes God's mind. And after he changes God's mind, God said, okay, because you told me to erase your name from the book, I have to erase your name. Because if a tzaddik says it, tzaddik goes there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mekayem. So the Gaon of Vilna says, where do we see that? You see it because it says, Mecheni na mesifrecha asher katafta. The Gaon of Vilna taught, I learned this from Rabbi Mansour, that the Gra had an unbelievable thing. He said, Mecheni na, erase me, mesifrecha asher katafta. Sifrecha is Sefer Kaf, the 20th parasha, which is Parashat Tetzaveh. And his name is not there. From the time of Shemot until the end of Zot HaBeracha is every parasha except for that. Now that's why the Chida and Shemot HaGedolim, if you ask him the Chida how many parashot in the Torah, he told you Gan Na'ula Hautikala. Gan is 53, there was 53, but there's not 53, there's 54 parashot in the Torah. So the 54 parashot, what did he do? There's two mahlokot. He said Nitzavim Bayadech was one, another one said don't count Tetzaveh. There are other opinions also as to how to count. Today we have 54 parashot that we do throughout the year. Now, with this knowledge, we have to ask the question, okay, so if that now, when they do the Het HaEgel, the Ananei HaKavod ended up going away. How did Ben Israel know the Ananei HaKavod went away? Very simple. The next day, on Shmona Asar B'Tammuz, the Be'er Minyam was still there, they still had the water, and they still were getting the man, but they noticed something else. On the 18th of Tammuz was the first day from the time they left Egypt that it was a sunny day. Because from the time they left Egypt, they had Ananei HaKavod. That means it was foggy every single day and it was cloudy every single day. It was the first day that they noticed it's pretty hot today. Yeah, it was very hot. It started getting humid. And they started like, wow, it's a little sweaty. And suddenly they're like, wow, it's not cloudy anymore. And they started to understand that God removed that Ananei HaKavod. Snakes were coming in, scorpions were coming in. That wasn't around for the first few months. And they were very upset. And Moshe Rabbeinu went back at the Har Sinai for 40 days and he prayed. He came down, he said, Hashem, he didn't forgive you guys yet. He said, I can try one more time, 40 days, and I'll let you know if he's okay. He went back a second time. He came back on the 10th of Tishri, which is Yom Kippur, and he said, God said, Salachti kidvarecha, and that was the day that for the rest of history, we're going to celebrate to be forgiven. Now, when I mean history, from the time, let's say 2448, there's only 3,500 years. The world will not be more than 6,000 years. So, knowing that, it was Moshe Rabbeinu was telling us for the next 3,500, 3,600 years, whatever it is, follow this process, and you're going to be forgiven on this day that God forgave you for a major sin that He was going to destroy everybody. It's a segula. It became now not even segula. It's hiyuv that on Yom Kippur you're going to be forgiven if you go to shul, you pray, and you ask for forgiveness. Great. So what happened after Yom Kippur? Bnei Israel on the 11th of Tishrei, they woke up in the morning and it was still sunny, and they said, "I don't understand, Moshe. You just told us that it took you 80 days, 83 days now that he was away. You said that God forgave us." He said, "Yeah, He did. But there's a big difference between forgiving someone that wrongs you and becoming his best friend and loving him." And he said, "Yeah, He forgave you, but I don't know about that closeness and love that He had before." So what happened? Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Listen, we're going to build the Mishkan because it seems that because of the influence of Mitzrayim, they needed some form of a physical structure to connect them to God. It could have been there was going to not be a Mishkan. It could have just been. I don't know. But it seems that because of that, Hashem understood that Bnei Israel needs something physical to help them connect. And this is where the Cheta Egel initially came from. It's from the Goyim that they had an intermediary between them and the Lord. And we didn't subscribe to that. So Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, I need to build the Mishkan. I'm not collecting any fiat currency, no credit cards, no BitPay, no Bitcoin, no Zelle. The way you're gonna do it is you need to give me gold, silver, copper, diamonds, gems, stones, whatever you got, give me that stuff. That's the real value stuff, even till today. Gold and silver and diamonds, that has value. Currencies can have inflation up and down. Okay, so for a few days, what happened? All the women that didn't want to give any of their jewelry during Chet HaEgel, they said, all right, for this, I'll give the jewelry. And they started to give all their jewelry, like we read about all the types of jewelry that they gave. And the men did too. And after 4 days, Moshe Rabbeinu said, it's unbelievable what I'm about to tell you, but this is the first and last time in history that this will ever happen. But he said, I actually collected more money than we needed. And this was the first, and again, the last time that any fundraiser ever got up and told people to stop donating because they had too much. Moshe Rabbeinu said, we have enough, I don't need any more. Okay. After the 4 days, that night, they noticed it got a little foggy. And suddenly they noticed it got cloudy that night. It's kind of interesting that the night that it got cloudy again is the night that we say, if it gets too cloudy and it rains, you went too far in some sin. And if it happened in Israel, we'll talk about whether it rains on the first night, if it's Kollel or not. It's a mahloket, if not. But it's kind of interesting that the first night that the clouds came back and it became foggy and cloudy again, if that ever happens again and it rains, it's a problem. But here it came back, and what did people notice? It was Zman Simchatenu. Why? Because Hashem returned back to that Aninat Kavod, and He showed us that He was going to love us again in the same way. And what's the lesson of it? Is that appreciate what you have. A lot of times, a person does an avon unknowingly, or maybe knowingly does an avon, and Has v'shalom, he could lose something that's valuable to him. Hashem is telling us something. I give you a lot of beracha. Don't mess things up. You know, sometimes a person has the best mazal for parnasah and good health, but his actions is what messes it up. The guy has the best mazal. Just don't do this, and this. Just shav al ta'aseh adif. Don't do the wrong things, and all the beracha comes. Instead, he's involving himself with different things, avonot, mahlokot, this, that, and suddenly all those pipes of shefa have ended up getting cut. Has v'shalom no aleinu. So, with that in mind, it goes to show us that really we do all have unbelievable mazalot, each and every one of us. And by doing the mitzvot, what you're really doing, Sometimes the pipes get clogged with avonot. They have, like, it's not a good example, but like when the toilet gets clogged, and it's clogged, and it doesn't work, What kind of simcha you have when it's unclogged? I don't want to say it that way, but it's working. Same thing with the shefa. If there's a pipes coming down, they get clogged with avonot, and suddenly the guy, he's wondering, where is it? Suddenly he makes teshuvah. He does this for din, and suddenly, boom, 1 week. Boom, beracha. Next month, beracha, it's coming down. What happened? You just clean the pipes, buddy. Sometimes just be. Don't make mahaluko, don't make rams, and now you'll get all the beracha. And this is the lesson. Zman simhatenu is the only one. Out of all the things that we did, we're getting this one back. God's saying, this is a lesson that I need you to teach you, not only for this year. This is how you have simcha in life. Making sure you're doing what's right, and appreciating what you have. They say you never really appreciate something until someone loses it. Lo alenu. So, you know what? This is a good lesson for us. And this is one of the important things that we can take from Sukkot. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen.